I want you and that young man to tie that knot. I'm gonna pray for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yes.
It's the old
He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped Gilligan get off the island.
Let me get straight to the business. Yeah. Got them lions in the building. Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been to bed. Man, they know they no contest. Yahweh, he do the bled. We will not see you tomorrow. Cause you cannot go to thought. All the sons and all the daughters standing hard with big manotas. But my son, he made me Taurus. On that line, I'm still a Taurus. Karate kicking Chuck Norris, 4-5 on my waist. If he started, will not hesitate to get retarded. Oh lordy, he ain't got a PowerPoint, he farted. He running to the hills like a Philistine. Jihad hitting hamites with the guillotine. Situation turned up with the ratchet team. JJ 7000 to the bait lead. Yeah, I know them haters gon' hate me, but he won't debate me. Pistol off safety. He respond, come wake me. If I don't get up, nigga shake me. If he don't show up, then he fake G. I touch down and make these nigga nuts hate me. Dear brother. Ballin' and crawling all the way from H-Time. Let me get straight to the business. Man, them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Why you lying to them children? You gon' cry, you gon' get it. Me, I'm like a frog, nigga, ribbit. Of course, it's in the spirit. I just got the Porsche, she can steer it. Michael got the raw, Shaq and Willie. Lamborghini doors, you better not spill it. Mama's high, say I'm more than just a villain. Mama's cry, arms open wide for her children. Suicide, immortalized as the realest, yeah. Death by cop, black suicide. Let me get straight to the business. Got them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been there. Man, they know they no contest. Yahweh, he get Wow, what's that? Why didn't take it over? Number one debate league, you heard me? When it's up, it's stuck. You stepping on everything, nigga. Metaphorically, of course.
February 19th, it goes Sunday, February 19th, it goes down. Or should we say it goes up? The Light Magazine and Kingdom Culture Radio presents the 4th annual Drip and Sip Remix with live performances by Sister Shalom, Yapa Q, King 7.
Coming in, we got them stacking to the ceiling.
Also performances by Ayo Ben Yahoo, Jamel the Trunk Rattler, and more. Hosted by Monologue Magad. With DJ Dr. J on the ones and twos. You don't want to miss this righteous party. Doors open at 5 p.m. The location is Live Wicks, 2405 South Collins Street, Arlington, Texas. Get your tickets today at tlhmagazine.net. The 4th annual Drip and Sip Remix. Don't miss it.
Peace. The Mad Scientist coming with y'all. Y'all know to check me out on my Facebook, TikTok, and Bing, and stuff like that. But support them people, man. Go do whatever you got to do to see the performance and stuff like that. Anybody that's trying to do things positive, man, and trying to get a come up, man, we supposed to be supporting. I'm gonna also do that. But I'm gonna get Karima to introduce herself, the queen of the Lions Den, and then we about to get to to these videos.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome everybody. Please hit that like, share, and if you ain't already subscribed, please subscribe. And yeah, make sure you tune in because we're gonna have a 16-man tournament between Lions Den and the Source Debate League. So if you want to be a debater, please leave a comment in the comment section, and we asking for a entry fee, which is 20, I believe, $20 to $25. And yeah, it's gonna be real interested.
Okay, that's what's up. Now there's two ways we could do it because I got my laptop now, so either I can play the video off of Sharon, or either you can do it. Which one you wanna?
You can share the screen.
Okay, let me share it. Oh, Sharon. Okay. All right. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it.
All right. This is one of my old videos that when I was coming to the Hebrew thing, and I just found it, and it just reminded me of a long way I came, and it's still the stuff I still said. This video still pertains to this day, and that's the crazy thing. It's like we gotta get to a point where we got to start fixing a lot of the problems that we have in to get better. And for us to talk about some 10 years from now of a solution that we never even thinking about trying to solve, that's still 10 years later and it's still the same problems, but this is self-hate or create self-oppression. So check it out. Of course, Eric Trueheart. Catch me on Facebook, Eric Maccabee Trueheart, or Instagram Trueheart30. um this subject I'm gonna talk about is self hatred creates self oppression. And what that means is, well, it's a part of my book, and I'm gonna let you understand what that means. Now, the first part I said, the mechanics of keeping a people oppressed is to have them to a point where the oppressed start oppressing themselves. And what does that mean? That we have been taught that we were nothing but savages, dumb and ignorant. So long as so long that we begin to believe it, which make us hate our history and creates self-hatred and hatred against any person resembling us. And when you go to school and they teach you, like I was saying, that the Europeans was the creator of here, that we wasn't nothing but slaves, and they don't teach you before slavery neither. So it started making people hate who they are. It started making us hate that we're black because it makes us feel like we were cursed. It makes us feel like, even though, in my belief in the Hebrew thing, the biblical thing, we believe that God cursed us because we fell, turned our back on him. But, it's history. What I'm saying is, when I saying curse, meaning we just was never no good people. We were just savages. We was living in woods and didn't know how to do nothing. And when it makes you hate yourself, because it makes you hate your history, it makes you hate anybody else that resembles you. It makes you hate any other black person. And that's why we have this hatred towards each other so much. Being the darker you be, to me, it seems like the more hatred it is. I know you heard about the baby and the two dolls and the black baby. They asked, they had a white doll and a black doll, and they asked the baby which one did she want to choose, and she always chose the white one. Because when you're seeing the white Jesus, all the prophets in the Bible are white. All the characters on TV, from even in Egypt, anything that was black has been whitewashed into believing that's how, that the whiter you are, the purer you are, the blacker you are, the more evil you are. Okay. And like I said, it creates the selling of poison to our people, abortion, and single parent homes among the black family. Because we growing up thinking that we ain't nothing. So that's how we living. You know what I'm saying? And when I say self hatred creates self oppression, meaning they put the system here, but we are the ones that's completing the cycle. We doing the cycle every day. We are oppressing ourselves now. Don't get me wrong, racism still exists. Like I said, all of that, but we are oppressing ourselves right now. Okay. We're the ones that are destroying our neighborhoods and communities. We're destroying our babies through abortion. So that's what I'm saying. We are creating, we are creating a self oppression towards each other because of the hatred that we have for ourselves that produces outward into anybody that resembled us. Now let's see. So how can we depend? How can we demand respect from other nations when we have lost respect for ourselves and each other? Change must come within the community. We have to change the community. We can't keep going to this government saying you will give us. They haven't given us this stuff for what almost 100 years now. We've been asking for it or more. They haven't. They're not going to give it to us, man. We have to start this stuff ourselves. We have to teach our kids, um, create businesses. You know, we gotta get our stores back on these corners. We gotta create our own community again. We gotta protect ourselves. We gotta stop the drugs. We gotta stop the abortions. We gotta stop the self hatred. Okay. We have to cure the disease of self hatred and ignorance we were taught with knowledge of our history and culture. And that's the only way we're going to get out of this self hatred and ignorance towards each other is to give each other the right history. That's why I'm pushing this history thing so much because once we learn the true history of ourselves, it brings back a respect to it, it brings back honor to us, and we can start respecting ourselves, which make us respect each other. We must teach our kids because they are the future. If we keep relying on school system, our kids will be mentally lost and our future will be lost with them. Okay, if you know about each generation, we're losing of the history. Each generation is not even knowing about slavery. Each generation is losing it. So eventually, there's going to be no black community because people are not even looking at that. They're not even looking that we still have a community. A lot of people don't even look that we still have a community. Okay, because our community is so broken from single parent homes, from drugs, from abortions to to killing each other, to robbing each other. We are self oppressing ourselves because of the self hatred. So to cure it is history. That's one of the parts. History. History has to be the first part because we have to know who we are. Once we learn who we are, we learn who we're supposed to be. So we have to stop this self oppression, but we have to stop this cycle. And I'm gonna keep pushing this because this cycle is what's killing us. It's passing on generation to generation of hating each other, of robbing, of being gangsters. I grew up that way. When I was 13, selling crack. I was toting guns about 14, 15 years old. I was getting locked up at 15 gun charges. I had that. And and I knew that that's not being a man. And what being a man is take care of the family and have your family be proud of you and the hard work. It's harder being trying to be a real man than being a gangster, man. That's straight up. You know. So all I'm saying is, and when you get older, you trying to fix your life back. All the stuff you did when you was younger, you destroyed. You trying to rebuild it when you get older. Now a lot of people get felonies. You can't do anything. It's hard for them to get a good job. I'm telling you, we got to stop this, man. But this is the part I really wanted to talk about too. Self oppression. It comes from self hatred. So to stop these both, history has to be the first step. Okay, remember, hit me up on Facebook, Eric Maccabee Trueheart, or Instagram, Trueheart30. All right, peace, salam.
It looked like they were going to have the talent to compete, and then they would fall off. Then they'd win 10 games. Then they lose five.
Sorry, getting used to that. All right, this the second one. This is the subconscious, is where your soul lies, and hope y'all enjoy this.
Can't hear it if it's playing.
Peace, this the mad scientist. You can catch
It was just
mad science of true knowledge. Facebook, TikTok, and Bang. And you can catch me on True Hot 30 Instagram and Elevate
why the screen.
Elevate YAH Minds. Elevate YAH Minds. All right, let's get to this. The subconscious mind. I believe where the soul is last, where you meet God at, where Jesus talking about the kingdom at, all in the subconscious. Subconscious is how you control your whole body, your mind, and your brain. Let's get to it. Subconscious and the soul. The subconscious is where the creator lies within you. Is beginning of you in the conscious part of the mind, not in technical use and psychological and psychoanalysis, where unconscious is preferred. Unconscious mind, mind, imagination, inner self, innermost self, self, inner man, woman, psyche, ego, superego, ID, true being, essential nature, and creative powers of the subconscious. Interesting facts about the subconscious. It records everything, allows alert and awake. It controls 95% of our lives. It is built on habitation. It speaks to you in dreams. It has no verbal language. It takes everything literally. It can do trillion things at once. It's not logical. It's the feeling mind. It is 1 million times powerful than the conscious mind. Let's go to the next. Conscious mind. Subconscious mind. 99.5% controls all the systems in the body, intelligent field that created the body from a single fertilized cell. Literal and metaphoric, not linear. No distinction between past, present, and future. Movie reality perception generalizes. Now, this is what they know of it. Let's not think that they know every single thing, because I told them, you go see why I say they don't know every single thing about the subconscious mind. The subconscious and soul, this is from me. I believe the conscious is in the man's semen. When the woman's egg and man semen fuses and creates the embryo, which is also when the subconscious soul comes in. But I also believe that the woman's womb is a gateway to life, because when you leave the womb and breathe the Yah's breath of life, oxygen, you become a living being. Again, we know when you're in your mother's womb, you're dependent on the placenta. Your lungs are flat. When you go through the womb, you start breathing oxygen, which unflattens your lungs, when it inflates your lungs. And that's why they call living, becoming a living being when you go through the mother's womb, becoming life. Okay, that's why they start you off when you first go to your mother's womb. The indigenous world traditions understand that the woman was the gateway between the two worlds. Regardless of what you believe or how you pray, she is still the only way to cross into this reality. Within her, we can find the mysteries of the works of the world and the power to create life upon it. We are gods. And even according to Psalms 82, we are gods because we are children of the Most High that lies inside the highest part of your body, which is the subconscious, which is where the soul lies, where it's contact with the Most High Yah, the self-existing one. Subconscious and soul. The soul communicates with the conscious mind through the subconscious. We look at the diagram, we see a barrier which is there between the conscious and subconscious mind. The barrier has some special qualities. It does not allow the conscious mind to know what secrets are locked in the subconscious mind. This self is also Purus, but it only allows one thought to emerge at a time from the subconscious mind. The thought that emerges in the strongest thought. So impressions from the subconscious mind rapidly hit the conscious mind in a quick session and return to strengthen the century that they arose from. Conscious mind 10%, subconscious mind 90%. 90% to 99% is what most of these people are saying. Impressions in the mind, devotion center of divine. Through persistent spiritual practice of chanting the name of God, the devotion century becomes firmly established. The firmly established devotion century becomes the strongest thought, prompting one to do only righteous deeds. The offering impressions in our mind are not allowed to go through the conscious mind and hence reduce their influence over over us. So just by chanting what we don't call the name, we know there's a title, but understanding that it's something more than us elevates our mind, makes us want to do right. That's why most people that become religious have some type of changing from a street form to trying to be holy. Some just stay the same, that's just how it go. Studied at All India Institute of Medical Science. Sajeev Sharma. I am Sajeev Sharma from Delhi, India, and I think vitally of consciousness, cognizance is the base of a soul or a spirit. Other than soul likewise incorporates brains, mind, and body. However, the sperm cells have a body and are motile and cosmic. Yet they don't have an astuteness and a psyche. So it is smart to accept sperm cells have soul. So that's why if it don't have life, if it don't even have life, then how did something die? How can a sperm die after a certain amount of days if it doesn't live? How can trees die if it don't have life? You see what I'm saying? Do y'all understand that? Let's go. And this is what I don't agree on. What is the difference between the spirit and the soul? The body, dust of the ground without the spirit, God's breath. I agree with that. Spirit, God's breath. There shall the dust body return to the earth as it was, and the spirit, God breath, not us, shall return to God who gave it. So I believe the body is earth and goes back to the earth. Um, I believe the spirit is breath. Yes, the spirit is breath, what we call oxygen. The soul is a living body, means all together. But what people thinking is saying just the body with the breath and with the breath and the body, what makes the soul. No, the soul is the last part of you, which is you, that's inside of this body. That body only runs off the spirit. It's just like you sitting in the car right now. Me in the car. The car, I'm running the car. The car is ran off of what? Gas, oil, which is the blood flow of the car, which is mainly the oxygen because the oxygen flows through the body through our body through the blood. So it's just like that. Just look at it like that. We're inside of a shell. Our shell is temptation. Our flesh is temptation. That's why they say that. All right. I do not agree the body and soul creates the body and spirit creates the soul and all dies together. But that the spirit, soul, and body are all separate and all dies except the soul. So yes, I believe you leave the body, your spirit returns, and your breath, your oxygen leaves. It leaves out, it returns. But your soul is who you are. That's what I don't agree with the part when people talk about the Bible about that part. No, I don't agree with that. Because if something has to be you other than this body, if you believe in an afterlife. But do I agree? Do humans have souls? Where if you believe that there is an immortal part of a human being, then you have to believe that there is a non-physical entity that lives on after the mortal physical body is dead. And that is the soul, the immortal part. Mental, emotional, perceptional, astral, physical body, soul body of light, which is at the top of the mind, over top of the mind. The subconscious controls the conscious, which controls the mind, which controls the brain, which controls the body. This is why I say they don't understand the subconscious that much. They only know the part of it. Because they would be able to create these AIs with a subconscious. The most they even talk about is a conscious, and they accidentally try to say they made that with the central. You know what I mean? And we got to understand that don't really have a conscious or not. Our artificial conscious and why they can't even create the subconscious. Consciousness is one of the unique features of the creatures and is also the root of biological intelligence. Up to now, all machines and robots haven't had consciousness. Then with the artificial intelligence, I'll be conscious. But robots real intelligence without consciousness. Will robots have real intelligence without consciousness? The most primitive consciousness is the precept and expression of self-existence. In order to perceive have a perception of boundaries such as skin to separate from an eye for robots to have the self-awareness, they also need to be wrapped by a similar sensory membrane. Nowadays, an intelligent external extension of the human intelligence, these tools are unconscious. The development of OWL shows that intelligence can exist without consciousness. When human beings enter into the area of life and intelligence from OWL, it is not the OWL becoming the conscious, but the conscious lives. The conscious lives will have strong AI. Therefore, it becomes more necessary to be careful on applying OWL to living creatures, even those lower level animals with only consciousness. The subverse revolution of such application may produce more carefully thinking. So the conscious is nothing really. It's actually the subconscious. Whatever we play in that subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So that's why they have the conscious is the perception of knowing your existence. So that's why they're trying to build the skin. They're trying to do this. They're trying to get it to understand it is an existing thing and not just a robot. They get close to that, but they can't get close to the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is what the soul lies, and they can't create soul. They can't create a soul. They cannot do that. And don't let them ever lie to you. They can. I hate them when I go to that. Now let's go to this one. Neither shall they say, "Lo here, lo there," for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. This is ye shall. I understand gospel of Thomas. Jesus says, if those who lead you to say, "Look, the kingdom is in the sky," then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, "It is the sea," then the fishes will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside you and outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will realize that you are the children of the living Father. But if you do not come to know yourselves, then you exist in poverty and you are poverty. Now, what I tell people when they say, "Who that is a God?" I said, look yourself in the mirror. But if you don't believe you're God, then you're not God. But look at me. I am God. I am the children of God. God is in me. My presence is of the soul, and God is in the presence of my subconscious, and that's where we meet and have contacts at. That's where we meet. That's why when you pray, you're praying inside yourself. Because the kingdom is the subconscious, the throne of the throne, and your soul lies inside the kingdom that's inside your subconscious, and that's where God meets you at, or Yah, the self-existent one, meets you at. But does that mean that he does not exist? Yes, he exists, but you can't fathom him, but you can understand that he does exist because you exist. And when you understand that, you don't have to explain nothing to these dumb atheists. Outro. The To put it all together, the subconscious works with the soul to control the mind, which controls the brain, which controls the body. Basically, we are soul being inside flesh, being tested by the Most High. Sorry for these spelling words. I was rushing on the phone doing something. But and sometimes word spelling messes spells up your words up. But what I'm trying to say is the subconscious controls the conscious, which controls the mind, which controls the brain, which controls the body. Okay? Now, peace out.
Ready to launch your business? Get started with the commerce platform.
Pause it, yeah.
All right, peace. That was the subconscious video. I just got one more for y'all. This my research on summer that I just did. I just heard it was a hot topic, so I said let me go and see what people talking about. So I bring us some information on that, and I got some from the British Museum that I want to show, and it kind of talks about who was older and stuff. So let's get to this. I'm gonna share it again. Share this last video for you. Oh, what's up? Just us. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, Jessa from Jessa TV 33. Um, Definitely, it's all about the mind and the brain that corresponds to the intangible part that we create. Um, I'm definitely all about the neocortex, limbic system, and the reptilian brain, and the pineal gland that is the producer and the starting of all our thoughts. We definitely got to get our mind right. That's there.
Oh yeah, I agree, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And I've been dealing with you for a minute. I understand a lot of the stuff what you saying too. And then, by me being a researcher, I'm never gonna be bad at any type of thing. So you come, if you want to come and build, man, and show me some new stuff, let me know.
I mean, definitely. I mean, if it's okay, I do have some questions on some of the stuff he was saying too.
Okay.
Um, like, what you think that rule? Well, you could probably repeat it. Like, what rules over everything? Like, what actually rules over stuff? And it comes down to the, I guess, say the brain, I guess, or say the person. I won't be specific on what it is. And it comes down to the human being.
Well, you said what rules it?
Yeah, what rules the human body?
The mind controls the human body. I mean, the brain controls the human body.
Okay. So it's just pretty much just all of one. It's not something that you break down. You just leave it as just the brain.
Well, no, I say the brain that controls the body, right? Then the mind controls the brain, the conscious controls that, and then the subconscious is the highest. The subconscious is something that they don't really know nothing about, and that's how I show that they can create a conscious, but they can't create the subconscious. You know what I mean? And so by them not being able to create the subconscious, it just is letting me know that it's something to me. It's something divine. It's something that they can't explain, and they can't, even from the research they're doing, that they still can't create it. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, I understand. So like how I look at it myself is you have a neocortex, right? Which you have a left and the right hemisphere dealing with your logic as well. You got right hemisphere dealing with your feelings, right? So you got the neocortex, then you got the limbic system or the hippocampus, which is the midbrain. Um, you have a lot of things there that you use for memory. So as you grow up, you take on new information. Like, because no one's born knowing what they know today. So we all take it in and taking on that information. To me personally, I look at that as the subconscious because when you do stuff, we do 90% of our actions based on the subconscious. And the only way to know to do something, you had to learn it. You had to take it in. You don't born and you start walking and then start talking about mathematics and then start talking about, oh, I'm going to drive a car today, or ride a bike. These things that you actually have to learn and actually practice and get good at it and then be able to have a muscle memory, stored inside your brain. And that storage that you have then would be considered as your subconscious. And then you have the unconscious dealing with the reptilian brain or the brainstem that deals with the breathing, the involuntary stuff, your heartbeat. So that would be the three things that I look at. Now, a lot of times we will say, I have a gut feeling or something tell me to do this. Most of the time, we take information into our subconscious again via the midbrains storing that information. Don't even realize we take it in because we can't capture everything in our conscious mind, but the subconscious takes it in. Even when you're sleeping, it takes it in. When you're not paying attention, it takes it in. So we have a lot of information that we take on a daily basis, and then sometimes when we ask a question to ourselves, it comes up and memory from the subconscious. You're like, oh yeah, man, how we know that? Because you heard it, you learned it, but you didn't even realize that you've been tuck it in and learn it because again, the subconscious always take things in. You driving down the road, you could be watching someone on your phone for like a couple of seconds. You could be talking on the phone, but guess what? You're still driving. You don't have to pay so much energy, attention to driving because subconsciously you know how to drive because it's already stored in your memory bank. It's like we call it second nature. So you're just driving to wherever you gotta go while you're doing other things. Now, if you're doing something you've never done before, you're taking in new information, oh, you're not gonna just be doing multiple things because you're gonna mess up. Now you're gonna pay more attention to where you're going. I'm arrested for now.
Okay. Thank you for that info. Hey, I mean, like I said, I mean, I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying on it about the subconscious, and I don't really know the question that you said you had for what I said, but we could do that after this last one. But this one, this video right here is Summer and the Sumerians. Like I said, so I hope y'all enjoy this video. And stay on here, just us. And Facebook and on Instagram, you can catch me on True Hot 30. I will get to this presentation talking about Summer and the Sumerian. So I hear a lot of people talking about it, so I just put my research into it and sharing it with y'all. So let's get to it. How I research. First, I do my 4 steps. Question everything. Seeking you shall find. Find answer to the question. To be a great teacher, you must be a great student. Research all the unbiased mindset. Meaning, question everything. Don't believe everything they tell you. See if you can find the answer, or see if they had any the true answer to the question that you have. If you think it's suspicious, to be a great teacher, you must be a great student. Meaning, you're going to be learning from people who had a more experience and might have did longer research in the field that you're studying, and research off an unbiased mind, meaning whatever you shouldn't be researching just to prove yourself right. It should be researching to find the truth, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people base their researches off of trying to find out and try to prove what they believe instead of just trying to find the true answer. Start from origin, see if any other people were there before, origin of name, artifacts, was there any influence or influencing through invasion, trade, or conquering? That's what I was talking about when, nations that conquer a nation that actually become entwined. They start worshiping each other, gods and cultures, and using each other materials, and inventions, stuff like that. Was there any influence? What was the culture of belief? Research the government they established, see if there's any tribes, clans, or multiple groups that control the land at the same time. Make sure the sources are reliable. See if there's any DNA or genetic footprints. Okay. Origin of Summer. Summer, cite the earliest known civilization located in the southernmost part of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in the area that later became Babylonia and is now southern Iraq and around Baghdad and Persia Gulf. Summer was settled between 4500 BC and 4000 BC by non Semitic people who did not speak the Sumerian language. These people now are called Proto Ephratrians and Ubadians. For the village of Al Ubad, where their remains were first discovered, the Albanians were the first civilizing force in summer, draining the marshes of agriculture, developing trade, and establishing industries including weaving, leatherwork, metalwork, masonry, pottery. After Ubadians' immigration to the Mesopotamia, various Semitic people infiltrated their territory and added the cultures to the Ubadian culture and created a high pre-Sumerian civilization. They were saying the original people, Ubadians, went and started going deeper into Mesopotamia, which let the Semitic people come in later on. You know what I mean? And created a greater civilization. Were added to it. So this is what I mean when sometimes, just like I showed with the Canaanite and Egyptian connection, when people could take over, and the next thing you know, they become entwined to where, like just like us, where we came over here. Now most of us are Christians. Like black people came, supposed to have got enslaved. Now we become Christians. Now we're part of that. We're Americanized. It's the same exact thing. Some are civilized kings. The Sumerians were the first of the southern Mesopotamia whose civilization flourished between 4100 to 1750 BCE. Their name comes from the region, which is frequently and incorrectly referred to as Country Summer, was never a cohesive political entity, however, but a region of city-state, each with its own king. Sumer was the southern counterpart to the northern region of Akkad, whose people gave Sumer its name, meaning land of the civilized kings. The Sumerians themselves referred to their region simply as the land of the black-headed people. Okay, things Sumer gave to the world. So that was just saying how they were named, and the cave people named it the Sumerians. So a lot of the names that we use on ancient cities did not come from them ancient people. It actually came from invaders, excavators, conquering, stuff like that. So it's like they say, his story. So history is always looked at as the most of the time as the victor. The Sumerians were responsible for many of the most important innovations, inventions, and concepts taken for granted in the present day. They essentially invented time by dividing day and night into 12-hour periods, hours into 60 minutes, and minutes into 60 seconds. Their other innovation and inventions include the first schools, the earliest version of tale of the Great Flood, and other biblical narratives, the oldest heroic epic, governmental bureaucracy, monumental um, um, architecture, and irrigation techniques. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that the present day that we still use today. That's why I try to tell people, don't let people tell you that the ancient people were dumb. They were actually smarter. Their technology just wasn't advanced. Scholarly Book of Summer, University of Chicago. It presents the fullest and most detailed treatment of summer political history available to date. The third chapter creates the social, economic, legal, and technological aspects of Sumerian city life. Chapters 4 and 5 treat the Sumerian religion and lecture, the two areas of Sumerian culture to which Kramer devoted almost all his scholarly career. Chapters 6 and 7 concern with Sumerian education and chapter, where writers' own favorites. Chapter 8 sketches what may be termed the legacy of summer to the world and the culture, beginning with the renewal of the give and the take between the Sumerians and the other people of the ancient Near East. It continues with summary of some of the more obvious facets of modern life, which may go back to Sumerian roots, and concludes with the sketch of a number of theological, ethical, and literary ideas of the Sumerian, which seems to have their parallel in the Bible and which points to far more immediate connection between the ancient Hebrews and Sumerians that has been suspected. Finally, there are appendix, especially prepared for those readers who prefer going to the original sources whenever possible. They include translations of a number of the more important documents utilized in chapter of history, as well as several miscellaneous items which are of special interest to a book of Summer and the Sumerians. So this book right here, they say, is the most detailed book that explains Summer and the Sumerians. Okay. Genetic footprint in the search of genetic footprints of Sumerians, a survey of Y chromosome and mitochondrial DNA variation in the marsh areas of Iraq. Okay. What does DNA say who the Sumerians connected to today? To shed some light on the paternal and maternal origin of this population, Y chromosome and mitochondrial DNA variation was surveyed in 143 marsh Arabs in a large sample of Iraqi controls. Analysis of the haplogroup and subhaplogroup observed in the marsh Arabs revealed a prevalent autodenosis Middle Eastern component for both male and female gene pool with weak Southwest Asian and African contributions. More evident in the mitochondrial DNA, a higher male than female homogeneity is characteristic of the Marsh Arab gene pool, likely due to a strong male genetic drift determined by socio-cultural factors. Okay, so this is saying about the Marsh Arabs and trying to see if they compare to the Sumerians and this stuff that they say and say through the mitochondrial. They're more weaker when it comes to the West Asian and African contributions because they, some claim that the Sumerians were in a, I guess you would say, on the Asian area. Well, some say they was Asiatic, like black Asiatic people. Some say that. The Mars era descendants of Sumerians. Evidence of genetic stratification ascribable to the Sumerian development was provided by the Y chromosome data where the J1 page O8 branch revealed a local expansion almost complementary to the contemporary to the Sumerian city-state period that characterized southern Mesopotamia. On the other hand, a more ancient background shared with northern Mesopotamia is revealed by the less presented Y chromosome lineage, J1M267. Overall, our results indicate that the introduction of water buffalo breeding and the rice farming, most likely from the Indian subcontinent, only marginally affected the gene pool of the autochthonous people of the region. Furthermore, a prevalent Middle Eastern ancestry of the modern population of the marshes of southern Iraq implies that if the Marsh Arabs are descendants of the ancient Sumerians, also the Sumerians were most likely autochthonous and that of Indian and Southern and South Asian ancestry. So they're saying the Marsh Arabs are descendants of the Sumerians. That's what they're saying. So, hey, gotta check that out. Some claim it to be the Garden of Eden. The Near East is well known for its important role in human history, particularly as um, a theatre for great historical events that changed the face of the world during the Neolithic period. The temperate climate and fertile soil brought by the continuous flooding of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers made the Mesopotamian region ideal for early revolutions in architecture and farming. In particular, the southern part of Mesopotamia, the delta between the two rivers in the present day southern Iraq has been historically known as the Garden of Eden, biblical name of or summer land, the land of Abraham. So yeah, I used to always hear this back in the day. The part of this place in Iraq where Iraq was actually the Garden of Eden, which kind of making sense now to why people always I guess we say Israelites are always talking on Samaria, and they're starting to talk about them now. Summer Religion and Government UK expert essay. So that's where I got this from. The source sites. Okay. Summer Religion. Religion is some are leaders or representatives of God. Each city state worship its own god and goddess as well as other gods. Firstly, military leaders were not the priests for the gods. Then gradually they replaced priests as rulers of Sumerian city states. Indeed, the Sumerians did not worship their rulers as gods, but they thought that their kings were the gods, representative of on earth. However, they spoke directly with gods and the people, so Sumerian kings commended absolute obedience. So they're basically saying God, they was gods in human form. We hear this to this day of people being God in human form. So that's nothing new. All right, this is the government part. Oh no, this is finished the religion. Polytheistic, right? Some Sumerian religion was polytheist because of the Sumerians believed in the worship of other gods in addition to the god of their city state. These gods were incredibly powerful and anthropomorphic. That is, they resemble humans. The gods were creator gods as a group, a council of gods and goddesses. They had created the world and people in it. Each god had a specific rank or place within the council. Many of these gods created natural forces. For example, they believed that winter and season of hunger and hardship occurred when the god Dumizi died and descended into the underworld. In Egypt, people believed the gods were kindly but in summer fear of natural disasters and invasions probably caused by the gods whom people made something wrong to. The gods will punish them by sending floods or famine. Unlike Egyptian people who believed in the afterlife, they would be happy, and summer people expected to descend forever into a dark underworld, a huge cave filled with nothing but dust and silence. Okay, and which I got to understand that it was different groups that was on summer, so just kind of like Canaan, what they call everybody Canaanites, they call Israelite Canaanites because it was basically based off of the land that they named. Okay, just like an African is called an African because the land is called Africa, but they're not really African. It was actually groups inside of Africa. Okay, land in summer was divided into three parts, all of which were owned by the gods. Land was farmed for the gods. The crops were used as storage for famine times and to trade for foreign goods. Land that was farmed to produce food for priests and temple staff. Land was rented by the citizens to grow food for themselves. The kingdoms of summer were organized into city states, which were ruled by kings as the gods. Kings were associated by priests, scribes, and nobles. Priests collected taxes, designed and supervised buildings and irrigation canals, and decided case of justice. Scribes measured land into square units and decided taxes to be paid. They also kept accounts of foreign goods unloaded from the ships. Before 3500 BCE, priests ruled summer. They attended the gods who really ruled until 3000 BC, where kings were elected to temporarily ruling position only in times of crisis when it had war or famine. After 3000 BC, the position of kings were no longer an elected office, but was hereditary. Hereditary. Lawmaking in summer was performed by a two-house legislator, bicameral, bicameral, who enforced the laws. Under house was composed of elders, while lower house was composed of free male citizens, who were also the soldiers. The Sumerian city state supervised the building and maintenance of dikes and canals in the surrounding farmlands. All right, this is the summer gods and ancient origins. Numa was the one of the Numa was one of who gave birth to the first deities and the god of heaven, the key, the god, the earth goddess, and so many more of the ancient gods. Namu was originally a purification of the uh, Primeval waters, Primeval war sea. as the beginning of the world and one of the mother goddess. Okay. Ki is the Sumerian word for earth, as she was personified as a goddess and female counterpart of An, the heaven god. And Sumerian myth. An and Ki produce a variety of plants and earth. They were thought to be the offspring of goddess Namu and were separated by the sun and Leo, moved away from each other, and became the ruler of heaven, and Ki became the ruler of earth. Ki is also identified with the goddess Ninma, the great queen, the queen of the cosmic mountain, Nintu, the queen who gives birth, and many more. She set the stage for the organization of universe and the creation of man and the establishment of civilization. Okay. And just like Egypt and all this stuff, you had different time periods, you had different classes, you had different people worshiping different gods. Some put one over top of the other. Some that got influenced and took the other god, and there was a god of this and made it a god of that. So that's why a lot of these gods could be multiple gods. Like Thoth, like I said, Thoth was actually an evil god at first, then later on became a god of right. So this is how they do it. Nana. The moon god was the major astral deity of the Sumerians, born of Elil, the air god, and his wife Nelil. The air goddess Nelil followed her mother's instructions as a sequence, was impregnated by the water of Elil, and conceived the moon god Nana. Nana brought light to the dark lapis lazuli sky. The little ones, the stars, were scattered around like grain, while the big ones, the planets, walked around the moon. Nana and his wife Ningal were the parents of Utu, the sun god, who was said to rise in the mountains of the east and set in the mountains of the west. And this is what I'm talking about mythology. You know, a lot of like just like this is mythology, right? This is based off of nature and stuff, right? That they made stories out of, to explain how they looked at how nature works and how astrology and all this stuff works. Um, Today, a lot of us would have took this literal, and that's the problem I have with things like the Bible, the Quran, because we don't understand the mythical part of the stories and what is real and what is not, and what we should be arguing over that's real, that is truth. Okay, Utu was the Sumerian sun god. He represented the brilliant light of the sun, which remains every day to illuminate the lives of mankind as well as providing the warmth and enable the plants to grow. The Sumerian tradition, he was represented with a saw knife and fiery rays. So this is, as always, the sun guys always have the rays and stuff like that. It's the representation. But like again, if somebody would have took this literal, and they probably did take it literal later on at a certain point in time. Anana, the goddess Inanna was the most important female deity of the ancient period. She was the goddess of love, war, female fertility throughout Sumerian history as a ruler of each city state. She was primarily responsible for sexual love and procreation as the life giving goddess of love, ensuring the property of the land and its people. Anana was the daughter of Aliyah and a twin sister of the sun god Utu. She also had a sister, Eris Kagal, and was queen of the underworld. Various Sumerian poems are about Anana and her love for Dumuzi and how she was ultimately responsible for his death. She was a patron of Uruk, where her principal shrine, Eanna, House of Heaven, was located. Okay, you see it right there. Artifacts, ancient history list. All right, so I'm just showing artifacts, I'm showing the gods, and I'm showing the different groups that was in on this land. Okay, today about 6,000 proto cuneiform tablets and more than 38,000 lines of text are now known as areas associated with Uric culture, while only a few early examples are extant. The most popular but not universally accepted theory identifies the Uric tablets with the Sumerians, a population group that spoke a allucinative language related to no known linguistic group. Okay. Hydraulic engineering. The Sumerians figured out how to collect the channel of overflow in the Tigris and Euphrates River and rich silt and it contained, and then use it to water and fertilize their farm fields. They designed complex systems of canals and dams, constructed or need palm trunks and mud whose gates could be open or closed to regulate the flow of water. A Mesopotamian relief showing the agricultural importance of the rivers. Yeah, because just like they talk about the Nile River, that how the rivers actually created the first civilization. All right. Two-wheel chariot. The Sumerian didn't invent wheel vehicles, but they probably developed the first two-wheel chariot in which a driver drove a team of animals. Richard Bollett said this: the wheel invention and reinventions. Goodman says that there's invention that the Sumerians had such carts for transportation in 3000 BC, but they were probably used for ceremonies or by the military rather than a means of getting around the countryside. But the rough terrain would have made wheel travel difficult. The Sumerians were some of the earliest people to use copper to make useful items, ranging from superheads to chisels and razors, according to the Copper Development Association. They also made art with copper, and including dramatic panels depicting fantastical animals, such as the eagle with a lion's head, according to Kramer, Sumerian metallurgists. Metal, metal, metallurgists use furnaces heated by reeds and control the temperature with a bellow that could be worked with their hand or feet. The lion-headed eagle made of copper, gold, and lapis lazuli by Sumerian civilization. Y'all see it right there. Woman weaver. The Sumerians were some of the earliest people to use copper to make useful items, ranging from spearheads to chisels. Oh, this is the same one. Okay, but this is the woman weaving right here. This is part of the same articles. So this is proof of this is an artifact of the woman weaving and how they used to weave. Okay. The Tanaka, known as Sumerians, were in control of the area by 3000 BC. Their culture was comprised of a group of city-states including Eridu, Nippur, Lagash, Kish, and the very first true city, Uruk. And these are the sources I use. Okay. Uruk was one of the most important cities. At one time, the most important in ancient Mesopotamia, according to the Sumerian king list. It was founded by King Enmerka. Uruk is best known as the birthplace of writing, 3200 BCE, as well as the architecture and other cultural innovations, located in the southern region of Sumer. All right. Eridu was considered the first city in the world by the ancient Sumerians and is among the most ancient of ruins from Mesopotamia. Founded in 5400 BCE, Eridu was thought to have been created by the gods who established order upon the earth with Urdu as the starting point. So, like I said, it's a point where they still believed in these gods, but they created them but it was created off the mythology. But later on, you could see that they actually believed it, and they had priests too. And this is what I'm trying to say. It happened in Egypt when you go to the first old kingdom. They didn't look at it the same way the middle kingdom and the later on, and they didn't look at it when other people came in and started influencing and changing the culture. Okay, Kish, Kish was inhabited since the period of Jemet. Jet, but yeah, what I wanted to say about that too, the Urdu part. What they kind of saying is kind of reversed though. They kind of saying is that people did look at them as gods first, and then you could see that it started becoming more like understanding of this mythology. But that's what they did. They made mythology character off the sun because they really worshiped the sun, but they didn't really worship the god that they created off the sun. But it was actually sun worship. That's why they said they worshiped the sun, but they created a god for the sun so that they could worship it in an idol form. All right. Guess what's inhabited since the period of Jeb, Jemdad Narsh into the Seleucid era, Seleucid era, my bad. It was one of the famous 12 city states of Sumer and became prominent Mesopotamian power during the early dynastic period. It was the first Sumerian city state to have kings after the Great Flood. What a sensation I had inscribable. This is a 5,000-year-old city, 5,000. So this is a dude that's talking, and this is the picture of him going to see this city. The most striking things you're catching when you visit Kish is this ruins of Zagharat. Nippur, the city of Nippur in present-day Iraq was founded sometime in 6 millennium BC. It was from the mid-3rd millennium until the 1800 BC and center of Sumerian civilization. The Sumerians themselves called the city the bond between heaven and earth, and it was occupied down to about 800 AD before it's finally abandoned. Today is an extensive field of shapeless ruined heaps far out of the desert, but it still retains its ancient name in the form of Tel Nefar. It has been an object of several archaeological excavations, first in the late 19th century and again from 1948 to 1990. The Gash, at the end of the Uric period, the environment would shift once more. Sea level both rose and fell. Smaller settlements were replaced by new cities that developed alongside rivers amidst irrigable farmland, some forming coalitions, others assorted actual city states. Among the latter was the site of Lagash, modern Tel al Hiba, which along with Gershu, modern Salo, and Nigan, modern Tel Zergul, formed the largest city-state of Lagash at about 600 hectares. The city of Lagash became one of the most sizable cities in southern Mesopotamia. The emerging institution of dynastic kingship has led scholars to call this time in history the early dynastic period. And that's why I'm saying you had the early years, you had the middle, you had the late. At the same time, in the 4th millennium BCE, the city was founded by settlers thought to have been northern Mesopotamian farmers still in the um, Chal- uh, Chalcolithic phase of culture. There is evidence that their occupation was ended by a flood, formerly thought to be the one described in Genesis. From the succeeding Jamdat Nars phrase, a large cemetery produced variable remains allied to the more sensational discoveries made at Erech. This is what I wanted to show. This is the National British Museum. Um, I go and went back to the first I could see. I went to life and death, religion, no life and death, trading, and artifacts. And in this website, Sumerian is older than each one. Okay, I'm just showing. See, now it's not older than Africa, of course, but it's older than what we would call Timuria, Egypt. This one right here was life and living and dying. They kind of Egypt got a little notch over top of them on that, but everything else, Summer is older than in art and the power and identity. Okay, this art and design. And when you see the up there with Africa, that's Africa that has nothing to do with the Timuria Kemet. So when people say Egypt and Kemet lasted that long, I don't see the history of that. Okay, my outro. Thanks for watching. Do your own research. Hope y'all enjoy the video. Um, I'm coming with some more fire. So y'all stay tuned. Do you got you got time for one more video, or you kind of something else to do? Or you might not be on. Yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed. That was my one on the summer. Um, then I did one on the subconscious. So y'all go back, share, subscribe to the Lions Den. You know, and come back and review this video and the other videos that we got out here. I'm gonna keep researching. I hope others keep researching, build. You know, let's get this truth out. Can you hear me, Kareem? Or am I mute?
I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. You good for one more video? Or you ready to go?
How long is it?
Probably like another 30.
We might play that on the next round.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy. Like I said, subscribe and share all the videos from the Lions Den. You know, support the tournament, support the performance that's going on. And we just gonna keep doing that thing. Peace out.
Still out.